Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck. Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Matilda Swift, here with my co-host Samantha Cummings, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Missteps journey. Each week, we cover a topic to help along the way. This week, it's our review of SPS Live 2025. Before we get into that, what are your wins and whinges of the week?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I get to say SPS was my win of the week.
Sure.
So why not? But I know we've been talking about that, so there's no point really wasting too much breath on it right now. My other win of the week is that I released my butterflies into the wild today. So this is like
That
a
sounds
non-writing
like you were speaking
thing.
metaphorically.
Yes, I know. So this isn't a metaphor. For my 40th birthday, my sister bought me some caterpillars. Specifically, it's like a child's gift, but I'm a child. Specifically so I could grow those caterpillars into butterflies. And they hatched whilst I was away last week or this week. And I kind of had them just in their little enclosure flapping around for a few days. And I thought, it's a warmish day. Best set them up outside and let them go off on their way. So I went out with them and picked them up out of the container, and they flew away and onto flowers and stuff, and it was just really nice. And I felt like basically
Disney
a fairy princess. Yeah, I was just like a princess. Yeah. So that was really nice. Another win I have is that I'm loving my editing at the moment. I've had some really good long days of editing. I feel like I've got a handle on it. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I didn't know where I was at in my journey, whether I was on track, but I feel like I'm on track, which is great. And I also started writing my prequel novella for my new book coming out in September this weekend, and the words flowed out of me. I'd set up a really good plan, but yeah, I just really enjoyed writing, and I've written about 3,000 to 4,000 words of it, and yeah, it's fantastic. My whinge of the week, I do have one, because you know how I like to balance things out. I chased up my book cover designer. So I have one book cover that I got for A/B testing, and I was going to do A/B testing. Yeah, and I love it. And I was going to do A/B testing with this other cover that my designer was going to do. So I thought, I've not heard from her for a while, and I chased her up, and she has replied saying, I'm really struggling with the design. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how. She just isn't in the zone with it. But I feel like I've called it a whinge, but I actually feel like that's the universe telling me to just go with the other cover.
Yeah.
So I might not be doing A/B testing. I think I might just be going with this other cover instead. So it's a whinge.
What about getting another cover from Get Covers? So I can do some A/B testing with that.
Yes, I could, because it's no skin off my nose. It's really very cheap. So I could do one just for the sake of it, just for a little bit of fun and frivolity. So maybe I will do that this week. Yeah. I
don't believe the universe is sentient and sending you a message through cover designers being flaky, but in the off chance it's not.
I released butterflies into the wild today. The universe is definitely on my side. How about you? What are your wins and whinges?
This week has felt so long. I feel like it's been about a month. I can't believe SPS was just 3 days ago.
Yeah.
It feels like maybe it was several weeks ago. So I don't know. Definitely, I'm gonna say my win is I really felt like I was living my best life this week. I really enjoyed everything. And chatting to authors, and not being at work, that was a big win. I spent time with friends. I stayed with two different friends, both called Rachel and London, and got to just be in their lives and have long breakfasts and catch up in a way that I don't do normally, because I'm just working all the time. Today is Sunday, and I've spent all day, I treated myself to go to a cafe and to go and sit in a little local brewery's bar. But I was doing financial documents and planning for a meeting I've got next week related to my publishing. So it was just nice to relax and hang out and socialize. I do feel like I've done my like a years of socializing, so I'm actually done for a while. And that's fine. That's maybe my whinge, is that I have quite a small social battery at the moment. But fine. And yeah, and I'm gonna give another win. You doing your Clifton Strengths has
Oh,
nudged up other people into doing it or talking about it.
I
I
know.
even told
Everyone
them.
should have waited. We should have got some sort of affiliate code.
I even told my friend Rachel about it, like the second Rachel that I was staying with, who's
Hmm.
also a writer, about it. And she's done hers. Even she did it, like, while I was there. And so we talked about
Oh,
that. And she also, I think, she had number one positivity. She had
oh,
super blue
nice.
strength.
Yeah.
Again, which is a strength I'd never heard of. And so it was nice that you
Hmm.
had forewarned me of it.
Hmm.
And yeah, and so she is going to be watching all the videos as well and like thinking about how to plan for her writing career as well. So I
Hmm.
feel like everyone should be doing Clifton Strengths. It just really feels like it frees up um I don't know, frees up like overthinking and judging about
Yeah.
like your strengths and weaknesses. Just be like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is where I'm going to focus my energy because it's what's going to give me most benefits.
Hmm. Yeah. I can't wait to talk about that at a future date.
Hmm.
um, but for this week, the topic of the week is SPS Live 2025, which was a few days ago, but for us, it will be a week ago when this is released. Yes. So have you processed everything that you've learned there? How are you feeling? Are you okay?
I feel so tired. So I went to both days. So I went to the
Hmm.
Wednesday and the Thursday, which were quite different this year. So usually it's just 2 days of talks in a big lecture hall. And this year it was one day of talks in a big lecture hall and then one day of smaller workshops. But also around that is like there's 3 nights of drinks.
Hmm.
There's like, you eat like lunch and dinner with everyone. I had breakfast with friends that I was staying with. I'm a person who normally spends zero time with other people. I live with my cats. And so to spend all the time just talking to people. I mean, fortunately, everyone there is like also quite similar temperamentally. So it's also like, they're not looking for a great big chat in a big
Hmm.
group conversation, just like passing the time. Like everyone is like happy to be grilled on an intense topic about self-publishing, which is like it's my favorite sort of conversation. But it was a lot of that. So I feel like
Yeah.
I'm still tired because I have sort of stretched it out and then also stayed with a couple of friends. I think I'm done processing uh in my first round. I think there's probably still stuff that I want to kind of think back on, but definitely the day, like the Thursday evening after the drinks, I just went back to my friend's house, and in fact, she wasn't there because she was out for the evening, and I just like laid on her bed and just like stared at the ceiling for a while. I was like, can't even listen to anything, can't do anything. I just need to just lie here and
Hmm.
do nothing. So like yes and no is my answer. How about you?
I feel like yeah, like I was so overwhelmed. I enjoyed it so much and I love talking to people, but I'm not a big group person. I'm a small individual, like small group and individual person when it comes to spending time and talking to people. So it was like such a challenge. And it's like it's not that I'm bad at it, but inside I'm just like, oh, I don't feel comfortable, and it holds me back a little bit. And I did feel like I felt really like, when you're kind of like watching yourself from outside and thinking like,
Mm.
oh, like you're doing the bad thing where you're not pushing yourself, which is, and it's fine. Like you don't have to push yourself every single time. But yeah, I just kind of like kept stepping back from myself and thinking, you could be doing this better, but you're not. But
But it was your first year.
it
Like
was my first.
I
I
was
know, like
much quieter my first year. And I think
yes,
I there's just so much that's like new and different. And I think I really felt my
yeah,
first year just like, I don't know who I meant to talk to or how I meant to talk to people because
hmm,
it's not like even been to a conference with your day job before. It's not like that. Like
yeah,
there's very unclear boundaries between that and like I like kind of feeling confident in a conversation before I go into it, like knowing who I'm going to be talking to,
hmm,
what they already know, what I already know, which is like sounds like a lot of overthinking, and that really is a lot of overthinking. But you're having to do all that thinking on the fly and really make
yeah.
sure that you're not about to say the stupidest thing anyone's ever said.
Yeah, and I mean, I say stupid things all the time, so I don't really care about that. So it was just more like, yeah, it was more. I was happy to enjoy it and absorb it and experience it. And as I was leaving, like the next day when I got the train home, I thought like next year, if it's on,
Mhm.
fingers crossed.
It's on. It was announced on the
Okay,
second day.
okay, good, good,
100%
good.
it's on.
So next year, I'll do it better. Like next year, I feel like it'll be a better experience. not that this was a bad experience, it would just be like, I just know that now I know what to expect. It'll be much easier. But I loved it. I thought it was so fun. We met so many people who listened to the podcast. I met so many people who didn't, and hopefully will be tuning in. And just like, I just love London. Like, I'm such a London girl. I love London. I love it, but I don't like the city centre. I don't like all the touristy bits, but like I love by the river, and I just love getting the tube. Like, we were staying in a very quiet, but like up and coming, but a quiet neighbourhood, and it's just like I just think like in another life this would be me.
It's so noisy. It's so full of people. It's really hot. Oh yeah, the tube an absolute like.
So good and hot.
I'm such an anti-London person.
Tube.
I
love getting on the tube. I just really enjoyed it. It was very fun. Yeah. I don't know what I've learned from it other than the business side of things is like deeper. Like, I don't know, I think I've like when you hear everybody talking about, like, I know how I see my business, I know where I am in my business, but then listening to other people talk about, like, people who are really a lot further ahead, listening to how they talk about where they're up to in it seems like I'm currently in the kiddie pool and they are literally in the middle of the ocean with no barriers and safety nets, and they're fine with that. And it just seems like that's the only way I can describe it. I feel like I'm like in the kids' pool, dreaming of like swimming in the ocean, but then seeing people swimming in the ocean, I'm like, oh, they're really doing it out there.
I mean, I do think one thing is that, like, when I was looking around on day one in the big hall, is there were a lot of grey heads, and I think it varies by genre, but like, and amongst the cozy mystery authors, I'm definitely one of the younger authors, but not, it's not like everyone is old, but like in the main conference, there were a lot of people there who they looked old, and that's not an insult, but I like they are bringing other skills, they are bringing a lifetime's worth of career skills to what is second career for them, and it's as it varies. Like, we met a lot of younger people who are like, especially romance authors tend to be on the younger side. But it does always feel when I'm in a group of other authors, like I am so young. Like, I've just got so much time ahead of me. It doesn't feel like, I do feel like I'm in the kiddie pool, but not in a bad way, just in the like, I've got all this time to learn. I haven't learned everything from my day job. And I'll just keep learning things, and I'll keep like developing my business. It doesn't feel like I'm behind. I think if I were the same age as everyone else and feeling this way, I'd feel just a bit like, oh, what have I missed? But actually, it's nice, and everyone, like, even people who are in friendship groups that I'm in, like, who I know are older than me, they're still like young and fun, so it doesn't feel like you're in the kiddie pool when you're talking to them, but it feels like opportunities, and I'll just keep learning, and it's exciting.
The good thing about the kiddie pool is that it's safe, and I like that. I do like that. I think I like kind of spoke to a few younger people who were writing romance and were doing really well, and but just in terms of other people, their businesses seem a lot bigger. They've got like PAs, and they've got people who do their social media, and they're like going to conventions and doing all of this big business stuff that like is the opposite of how I want to run my business. So it's not like, it's just one of those things where you see what other people are doing. I don't feel like I'm behind in a bad way, but at the same time, and we'll talk about this next week, or when we talk about Clifton strengths, is that because one of my top 5 is futuristic. I'm like, I am like, I'm probably like a lot of people, I'm so impatient when it comes to the future, because I can see, like, I know I can perfectly envision what I want to be doing and where I want to be. And when I see other people there, it's not like, I'm not jealous of them. I'm just jealous of the success. I want to be at that point already. But I think that's just one of the things that this brought up, is like seeing other people actually in real life talking about stuff made me think, oh, I really want that. And I'm frustrated that I don't have it.
It's different to them being like a book cover. When it's like, it's a real person who you're like, oh, they're just like a person from Hackney. Wow.
Yeah, it's just a regular person.
Yeah. They don't possess a magical power that I couldn't possess. They're just further along than I am.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thoughts and feelings that I've been processing since I got home, is I felt like really not down about my experience. But I process emotions like very slowly. And my first emotional roller coaster that I always go on whenever I do anything that's like big and social is, well, when my battery's drained, I feel down in the dumps. And it's never about something specific. I'm just like, oh, like it's just like a really familiar feeling of feeling behind. And that's a feeling that I've had since like for my whole life, like feeling behind. Like we've talked about this before, where like my family would go off and do things and I'd get left behind. And it's like it's like that's just a feeling that I have always. And when something happens, like that's my first feeling that I go to is I feel left behind. But I've over the past few days I've been processing more emotions and going through like more in-depth ones. And I have come out of it like more excited. Like I am very excited, and I feel like I needed to experience this in order to grow up not grow up's probably not the right word, but mature a little bit. Like I've taken another step forward on this self-publishing journey.
Do you think you would go to day 2 next year?
Yeah, it depends what how did you feel day 2 went? I don't know, I can't even imagine what happened. What do you think?
Oh, okay. So like I said, day 1 was like it had been in previous years. It was just a gigantic theatre, and you're seeing lots of different people get up on stage and talk about things. And some of them are from the conference sponsors, so they're quite salesy, and that's pretty well signposted. There was less this year of that, but you can just skip out those talks if you want to. One thing I missed from previous years is there was maybe slightly more like panels from people who had useful things to share in past years, and there was more Q&A, and it really felt like this year they were maybe trying to get more into day 1 because it was only a 1-day thing. And I mean, I guess also like I'm not the target audience of day 1. It was meant to be something to split the audience slightly more, and I would say in future I might just get a day 2 ticket and be there on day 1 and try and organize something else with other authors that I know, because essentially day 1 is just like things that you've heard on podcasts. There were some talks that I really, really liked, and I love learning. So for me, it still feels like I enjoy being there for the things it sparks in my head, even when it's really basic stuff that I've heard before. So I absolutely loved Inez Johnson's talk at the beginning about craft, just because I think she thinks the same way I do as well about like processes and things.
She also mentioned Buffy, so she had my attention from the start.
Yeah,
As soon as Buffy came on screen, I was like, yeah, this is going my way.
She was also wearing a really cool t-shirt. She had like an Abbey Road, like pretend Abbey Road t-shirt that had the Bennett sisters on.
Yes.
So yeah.
She also brought up John Wick, so Keanu Reeves was on screen. So if anybody doesn't know, Keanu Reeves is my one true love. So she had me from the start. Yeah, she did.
I thought that was a great talk, and that definitely I really enjoyed, because it's a bit different as well. Like we really like watching videos together. It felt a bit more interactive, and something you couldn't really get on the podcast. So I did really enjoy that. And there were a few that sort of sparked your interest. So I really like Cheryl Honecker's. She talked about AI, but again, she kind of just, you only really have time to kind of talk about it and say this is an exciting thing, and you don't get a chance to go into it on the first day. So that's what the first day is like. But and there's lots of chat around the sessions. There's the pre-meet that's organised by sort of unofficial pre-meets in the Mad Hatter, which is great. And then there's like the lunchtime when you'll find people to go off with in between sessions. You get to chat to people afterwards. There's drinks. There's drinks in a really good venue this year, actually. I really like this venue, just upstairs, and with the balcony, and everyone was like, oh, I've just noticed Big Ben's out there and like the London Eye. Yeah, I forgot we're in London. And there are really nice drinks there. According to James Blatch, they got through £1,000 in 6 minutes on
not
the bar
surprising
tab.
It's not surprising. People were definitely
pricey.
double fisting, like people were definitely grabbing more than one drink at a time, I think, because that went so fast.
And it was a long queue, but really nice, like a nice drink, and it was sponsored. So there were tons of, and on the first day, actually, normally I don't really make a big effort to speak to the vendors, because it's like, again, it's stuff that you've heard about it before. So the vendors are people like formatting tools and like writing, checking tools. Like I won't go into details because you're either there or you won't. And they're all stuff that you've heard of. So I think I'm I'm someone who's like, if I hear about something, I'll go and look into it myself. So I've already kind of looked into what I want to look into with those things. And so I didn't necessarily, but I did get a chance this year to kind of talk to some of the vendors about really specific questions, which was nice. So firstly, it was interesting, but I think it's not for people who have been several years in a row. And if there was an alternative thing to do, I would maybe do that instead.
Yeah.
But the second day was really different. So the second day was at a lovely hotel, and I've been to a different hotel in the same chain, and it was awful. Um, it wasn't awful, but I saw a stripper there, and it was really tainted my my opinion of actually. Now I think about it, the hotel was fine. It was for a hen do, and it was sort of as you'd think it was, and it had a. So now that's stuck in my head. There were no strippers at this though that I saw, though. Someone did wear a very was a man in a sort of gym top. Um,
Oh.
It was a hot day. It was very hot.
Yeah.
So we were down at the Pop Plaza. The spread they put on. Oh, phenomenal. They were pros at
Oh.
the conference game. There was like just delicious, like heavenly ambrosia type fruit everywhere all the time. Teas and coffees constantly, really nice drinks around. The staff, like as soon as you put a cup down, someone whisked it away and just like cleared up everything else. They were delightful. And then the lunch spread, I had a salmon poke bowl for lunch, and that was like one of several options you could have. Just like picked up off a table that someone had made with like many different sorts of toppings you could add to it. Fantastic. That was all included, as were
Okay.
drinks afterwards.
That sounds
So
amazing.
second day, yeah, venue was lovely.
Just the food.
I think it was the first time we were doing it, so some parts of it were a bit hit and miss, and the parts that I really enjoyed. So there were 5 different workshops, and they were split into rooms, small rooms, 5 small rooms, where there's a limit of 50 people each, but you only really needed 40 people each to go toward them to circle around. So essentially, the same workshop was on in each room 5 times in a row, and you rotated between them. So you could have skipped one if you wanted. I didn't. I'm a real, as I said, I love a bit of book learning, so I am a completionist. I did all of them. I think really someone I know did what I should have done, where she actually went back to the most interesting talk twice and skipped one that I think we probably all knew was going to be not super relevant, which is fine. I'm sure some people find it relevant, but I think we knew it wasn't going to be for what we wanted right then. So the ones that worked really, really well, and that I'm hoping they do more like this next year, were the ones that really were workshops, where it was a small room. The best one I think was probably Shell Honeycutt's one on AI, but I think I'm biased and like I do find the topic interesting. It's about AI automation, not just AI itself.
Yeah.
It's about how she automates things, and she runs Indie Author Magazine amongst many other businesses, as well as being a writer. I don't quite know how she does it. I don't think she sleeps. So she runs Indie Author Magazine, and obviously she's got so much to do. She does automate a lot of it, and she uses various tools. And one she had on screen where she showed us like the automation flow that she has to basically create all of the social posts for the magazine on like many, many different platforms. And so she showed us everything, and like we looked at the overall workflow of all the different steps, and then she'd click into one, show us the next tool that it was going into, showing us how it was reading it. She read the prompt out, then she came out and she showed us the output of that, and every single step along the way. And I really like that because I think she's such an expert. She comes from a development background, or some sort of techie background, so to her I think when she's talking about it, she can visualize it really easily. Whereas I really appreciated actually being able to see what she meant. And it was much simpler than I think I'd got in my head. And she had tools she could talk about that were free or very low price, that I think you could easily see how you could just take a bit of it and use it yourself. And so it was fantastic. And all the way through, she's very, very good speaker, and she's really a good teacher. So it didn't matter how often you interrupted her, like you could just shout out a question basically, and she would just answer it and continue with the flow, and it just made it a really good session. And someone I know went to it twice, and actually I wish I had as well, because the downside I think of the sessions were the same session was on 5 times in a row, but you only got to hear the questions obviously from your session, and each session was only recorded once. There was a recording team, so they'll be on, if you get a digital ticket they'll be online, but you don't get to see the questions that the other groups asked, which, having spoken to friends who went to sessions in different orders, they were really, really different every time. So I think that's something that I wish had been different. Like I don't know if they've done this, but it would be good if they had taken like an AI, like got a transcription and got the output of all the questions and answers. That would have been great. So yeah, for me, the sessions that were really good were ones where you really had a lot of interactivity. So that one was really good. And the TikTok one that was from Adam Beswick, and I want to say, I keep thinking his name is like Zach Diamante, and that's obviously, I think, not his name. It's something like that.
No, I think it's something
Um,
like that. Yeah.
right, it is something like that, and I just don't know what
Yeah,
it
yeah,
actually is.
it is.
I've written it down. Hang on, I have
I
written it down.
think it is
I think
Zach.
it's
I'm sure it is like Zach Diamante.
okay. I think I just think it's not that because that sounds like such an exciting name.
It is an
It sounds like a
exciting
name that I
name.
would have made up. I didn't write it down. But anyway, and he has initials as well as his like pen name. But both of them were just like, and I went to the last session of the day with them. Is it Zach Diamante?
It is. Yeah, he goes by ZS Diamante. But yeah, Zach Diamante. Yeah, cool name.
Okay. It
Yeah,
is a cool name.
good for him.
It sounds too cool. That's why I think I made it up. But yes, so they were, I'm sure it was the last session of the day for them. And they were just still so full of energy. And they had done the same session. It's an hour-long session. They'd done the same session 5 times in a row. You get a little break in between. And they were going right to the wire. So I can imagine they went overtime in a couple of sessions. And it was them just saying, like, anyone who's got a TikTok, like, we'll talk to you about our TikToks a bit at the beginning. And then anyone's got a TikTok, you can put it up on a projector screen and we'll talk through what you could do next to improve things. And we'll talk through any questions that you've got. And it just felt so like casual, engaged. They were able to really well answer questions and just keep going with the flow. And it just felt fun and light and easy. And it must have been exhausting for them to do the same thing all day and to be really engaging and fun and funny. They put a lot of energy into that, and it was really appreciated. Some of the sessions I think were ones that would have been better on stage as a speech, as a talk, because I think they didn't have enough capacity to be quite interactive. But again, it was the first year they were doing this, so I'm sure it's a learning process. And yeah, so that was the second day, and I think the second day was really valuable just for a chance to ask questions. There was one talk that I think I didn't really understand the purpose of it. It was from a high up person at Amazon who works in Amazon ads, and she was only really talking about the like extra layer of Amazon ads that you can get. So that like you and I can't access this. You can only get it if you're spending more than 10,000 a month. And it wasn't really clear she was talking about that. Like if you knew enough about it, you could figure that out. And I asked her directly, like, can you clarify what like the two parts you're talking about? And yeah, I wasn't quite sure what she was trying to get out of that, but I don't know. I heard from other people that her Q&As were better in other sessions. So again, I think it's a bit of luck of the draw of what you get and what questions
Yeah.
people ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the second day was really good. And then interestingly as well, the conversations that I had with people on the second day were much more lots of like one-on-one chats or like 1 and 2 chats, getting really in the details on business things. And I think that was maybe fostered by the style of the day, and being a set of people who, I think it was only 200 people, a set of people who had like already self-selected into a group wanting more advanced things.
Yeah. That sounds great, and I think probably next year. I just didn't want to kind of like go all in with my money because I didn't know what to expect, and also just money. But next year, when I'm making big bucks with my new series,
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be much easier to afford, and I would do that. That sounds very fun. The one thing I was disappointed at, because I know like you had quite a lot of cozy mystery writers there, and they're what a fab bunch. Like everyone really accepted me into the group. It was so nice. So, if you're listening to this and you accepted me into the cozy mystery group, thank you. It was nice to feel like I knew like where the safe zone was.
The weird thing is in fact, I know there are many more cozy mystery writers there as well. Like I saw them in passing, but there were in fact too many cozy mystery writers to be in one group. I would say there were easily 20 there on the first day.
Yeah, it was crazy, and it's really nice to see because obviously it's a great genre, and like I just love it's just such a tight knit group. You could tell like everyone is really really into it, and I did not find my people. I really thought I was going to go and find my people, and I thought I would find YA.
I thought that too.
I thought like, oh, I can't wait to go, because we had name tags, and so I wrote my name and my genre on my name tag, and I was looking around at everybody else's name tags. Not everyone put their genre on, which was silly and annoying. But I did not see. I saw like a couple of fantasy authors, but I did not see a single YA fantasy author who like just solely genres.
Like there was UF people there, but like even when we asked them, they were like, "No, I don't know any YA fantasy authors around."
Yeah, people were just like, "No, I've not seen any," and I thought that was really strange, because although maybe not strange, because YA fantasy is obviously big in trad. Most people go down the trad route with that, and it's also very Americanized. A lot of American people write YA fantasy, and I know from
it's the same for cozy mystery. Like, we've looked them up before, and there are people based in the UK who are writing YA fantasy, but maybe they're just real antisocial weirdos.
Yeah, like maybe maybe it's my job to bring them next year. Maybe that is my challenge, is to find the groups. So I just thought it was really sad that I didn't find anybody to be my new best friend and replace you, obviously. No, just it's so cruel.
That's what you need.
I know.
I wouldn't let you.
Was like I know. It wouldn't work. I just thought it was really weird, and I don't know. It's also because when we were watching one of the talks and we were looking at like the trends of publishing over the last few years and stuff, and YA fantasy is like zoom going down.
But that was category like changes, right? That was because it used to pollute the category more.
It is a very polluted category. But then to not have YA authors there, it kind of felt like I was like a black sheep. But I've kind of gotten over that, because I think that's one of the feelings that I was trying to process, was like, oh, I feel like I don't belong anywhere, and there was like nobody that I could relate to. But I really do have this thing in my head where I want to be like the person that becomes like the biggest YA fantasy author in the UK, like indie publishing.
Okay.
And it's that sort of thing where you just like, you think the biggest thing you could think, and I think, fine, if nobody else is
never
going to go.
Life thought of the biggest thing you could think. That's just not how I think, because I'm only really thinking about myself. I don't think about myself in relation to other people.
No, I mean, because I assume that I'm going to be famous, right? So when I think big, and I think, oh, I could be like one of the biggest YA fantasy authors in the UK, and like I really want to get people into British YA fantasy, because it's so American. Whether people want that or not, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to force them to like it. Maybe that's just, I just took that as, even though you don't want to believe the universe is talking to me, the universe is telling me that there is space for me to become that person.
Yeah.
And I see it as a challenge. It's a fun challenge. It's like, okay, so there was nobody there to show, like, to kind of lead the way, to show an example of this is how the business works for this genre. So maybe I have to be that person that sets the path.
I say this is classic Act 2. Classic Act 2 situation. You think, I know what I want. I want some like companions in this journey. I go exactly where I'm going to find them. No one's there.
It's very, very. Oh god, I hate how. Like every time we think that we're doing so well, it's like, oh, Act 2. It's Act 2.
Yeah. So like, what you thought you wanted was to find a group, but actually, what you need is to become the like. Become the group for yourself.
Pick up the sword and
pull out the sword. Pull the sword from the stone.
Yeah, and that's fine. I've got.
I do think as well, though. I would assume YA people are less likely to go to a conference, right? Like they are going to be perhaps on the younger side, author-wise, and maybe not have the money or inclination to go to a big conference in London. Like I said, I was struck by just how very young we are, both of us, spring chickens at 40.
So spring chickeny. I mean, we do look fantastic for our age as well. So
and we looked so good. Our suits, oh my goodness! If you didn't see our suits, check out our Instagram. We looked unbelievably good. And can I say, I've got a meeting with my accountant on Tuesday, and I'm wearing my pink suit because I was like, I'm gonna look like a business lady. And then I realized today, and it looks so good. But also I realized today I'm gonna have to take my laptop with me, and my laptop bag is also the exact same shade of pink, so I will look like power suit Barbie.
It's funny because I always think like pink is my colour, and I love pink stuff. I lean heavily towards pink, but wearing blue really, it was like, oh, I think I am a blue person, because that blue suit was so nice. And I also wore like a blue cardigan on the second day, just because I thought the air conditioning was going to be a lot more aggressive than it was. So I did sweat quite a bit, but I do enjoy to sweat, so it's fine. And so it's what keeps me looking youthful. Yeah, that blue cardigan got so many. Every single person who I spoke to was like, "I love this cardigan," and it's blue with flowers on it. And I probably worn it on the podcast before. So maybe baby blue is my color, and pink is your color, and we just need to commit.
I do have like your cardigan. I've got a big fluffy pink cardigan, which I didn't bring because I just had absolutely no space in my luggage because I had to bring also a different pair of heel boots because my legs are too short for the trousers.
Hmm.
And obviously hemming is an option, but I did not go for that option in
Hmm.
time. So I had to bring extra boots. My bag was very heavy. I also brought my laptop with me and did absolutely no work.
Boo!
I should
No
not have brought
way.
should have brought
I
it with
did
me.
not. I didn't bring my laptop. I thought I knew immediately. Like, I'm not doing anything. I bought a
Yeah.
book, and then I read said book on the train journey to London, and then finished it on the train
Hmm.
journey home. And I thought that I wasn't going to have time to finish it. But then when I got on my train, um, two incidents stopped the train in its tracks. We literally stopped on the tracks
Oh.
on the way home because a train had derailed, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
that's
you got
super."
stuck in that.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, that's super stressful. Like a derailed train. Like, what am I supposed to do?" And then I thought, well, you're just reading. So I went and got some food, and then sat and read. And then a tree came down on the line further up the track. So it was just like, do you know what?
Are you jinxed?
No,
Look at a
I
train with
had
you.
I had actually previously said before I got on the train, I love train journeys. I could sit on a train for a whole day.
So you've jinxed yourself. Okay. But you are reading the Inheritance Game series, so like
But I had the
really,
book.
who wants to
I
get
had the
off?
book, and it was so good. It was actually, as much as I wanted to get home and like just get into bed, it was a perfect day because I love a train. I could sit on a train all day with a book, and that's what happened. I really need to, if I'm going to talk things into existence, I need to start
Yeah,
talking a bigger game
money.
than just like sitting on a train. I can't wait for this train to break down. No, I can't
Mm,
wait for the money to roll in.
yeah,
I love making
yeah.
money from selling books.
Keep saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so any other thoughts on self-publishing on SPS Live? So one other thing that I want to say is it felt like such a good timing for me, and such good confirmation that I'm like on the right track. And I'm really glad that I made a decision recently. I'm on the path on with a timeline towards leaving my job,
Hmm.
which I will disclose more of at some point. Um, but I have got a timeline in my head, and I'm so glad that I decided it before I went because there were so many discussions where if I'd been in another room, I would have had to really like maybe explain myself more, or I I would have fielded questions at least. And in that, everyone's like, "Yeah, great idea. Like, what's your
Hmm.
next step? What are you doing here? What are you doing there?" I could ask really direct questions of people who've done it recently and get really good information. And it just felt like I was in the right room, and that was really um not reassuring. What's the word? Stronger than that. Like, it just felt really positive.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, confirm my decision. And then also everyone in there was talking about other conferences we're going to go to, and I was like, yeah, I want to not have to think about, oh, do I have enough days off work to do that? Because we were also talking about like, oh, there's another writing retreat coming up after um after another writing retreat that I'm doing. And I was like, oh, I can't go to that because I've got no more leave. It's like I don't want to be thinking about that at all.
No. No. I kind of had the opposite of. Feel like all the people that I heard speaking, um, seemed to have almost immediate success.
Hmm?
And I was saying this when we were having dinner the night after the first day. I felt like the only examples of success that they really were showing. I mean, and this is just maybe me taking away what people are saying. Maybe I just didn't understand or they didn't tell the full story. But the most success that was on parade was basically overnight success, what appeared to be overnight
Yeah.
success. So people
And
who
I would say
had,
that's not been the case at previous years. I think that felt
yeah,
very much like a a choice from the deciding agents of like
yeah,
what they find interesting.
hmm,
Um, and I think it's interesting as well. Like I have noticed that in like podcasts I've listened to recently, some are really interesting, but they're really like focused on the exceptionalism. And I
hmm,
really I'm interested in people who like did it. I don't care about an exceptional story. I don't want someone who like had a weird idea and comes from a different background and like made seven figures in a couple of years. I was like, because I'm not going to do that. That's just not the way that I think. That's not the way I want to think. Like I
yeah,
want to write my books and make my books successful. And it's already
hmm,
taken several years and it will take up more. And I want to see examples of people who do that.
yeah. Somebody who um, stuck it out, basically. I want to see people who also stuck it out to make me feel like me sticking it out isn't a mistake. And I know it's not, but it's just nice to see. You just want to see somebody else doing the thing and
one of my
feel
favorite
like...
talks was a couple of years ago. Rachel McLean talked, and she had just won the Kindle Storyteller Award. And she obviously now, when you look at her, like she's like Rachel McLean, and she's like constant top Amazon bestseller. And she's got paperback only deals, and she's got trad deals and stuff like that. And it's like when she was at SPS, I don't think it was last year. It was the year before she gave this talk, when she had just won the Storyteller Award. She showed her sales graph, her KDP graph, that was just like absolutely the teeniest, tiniest, little bumpy, undisturbed by anything line for several years. And she was like, here's where I wrote like a post-apocalyptic zombie romance that was also a mystery. And here's where I wrote aliens who are also in a like teen movie. And it's like, she was like, here's a bunch of genres that I didn't think through.
Yeah.
And I had years and years of that. And then my job was changing, and I realized if I wanted to make money from this, I had to really think about it and be strategic. And so I really went away and just thought about it from a money point of view. And I decided what to write, and I wrote that, and I put a lot of work into it. And I know it so well. Like, I wrote a book about it, and I really strategically did that, but only after several years of like making the mistakes.
Yeah.
And that was such a good talk, and she's really a good speaker, and she was on the panel that year. Maybe it was, I don't think it was 2 years ago. That was the issue on the panel about people who had gone full time in the last year. I think she was on that, but there were also several other people who had gone full time in the past year, and they weren't people who had success instantly. They were people who had been forced by circumstances to step up their game for some reason. So that's another way. Like, if you lost your job today, like, you could make it full time within a year, right? You could be like, okay, I'm going to buckle down and be like, what is going to make the most money in the next year? And I will just really work flat out and do that. And just because right now you don't have to do that, it means you don't have to kill yourself for a year, right? It doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. It means like maybe that takes you 2 or 3 years. And you get to kind of maintain your sanity, and you get to write books that are slightly closer to what you want to write at the moment. But yeah, I think that was definitely something that was big this year, was a lot of people who were exceptional in some way, which is like, that's not, it's not a thing I can do. And I think it's fine. Like, I might be exceptional. I might suddenly next year like release the book that is like, you and I both, at being futuristic, we might release something that is like the next big trend without really having done that in the same way that somebody else.
That's what I'm hoping.
Might have to really think about like trend chasing.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I just need to set a trend and then stay ahead of it.
But that doesn't mean that, like, those years that we spent preparing for that, that's not like the years in which we were wrong. Like, I think you need to learn about those things. I think if you had a sudden overnight success, you'd be like, oh, now what? Then you end up with like an enormous accidental tax bill that you didn't know how to handle, or you get yourself kicked off KDP a few weeks later because you did something that you didn't understand. I like a slow learning curve. I like to know everything.
I do like a slow learning curve, but I also am just very impatient. But I do like to stick things out to the bitter end. So I mean, even if I'm in the same position next year as I am right now, which I doubt it, because we've said this so many times, we're so far ahead now than we were last year. But even if I was in the same position next year as I am now, like, that's okay, because I'm still going to be writing books, like, and I still will enjoy it. Like, I still love doing it. So
I don't think I made any meaningful like change between years 1 and 3 that I attended. Really, I think I was just slowly learning things and trying things. But like, between years, like the first, second, third time I attended, that was only actually a 2-year span. How much are you actually going to improve in 2 years if you're also doing a day job and you're just starting and you're just figuring stuff out? So it definitely felt slow, that like progress between years 1, 2, and 3, but now it feels like I'm on a different path. I'm in Act 2, raring towards, we're halfway through Act 2. We're basically in Act 3 already.
Oh my God, no, don't wish our lives away. I love to dawdle in an Act 2. That is one of my worst things when I'm writing. It's like, Act 2 for as long as possible.
Why do your characters not get impatient like you do?
I don't know. I've actually, this is a Clifton Strengths thing. I feel like we should talk about this at Clifton when we do Clifton Strengths, because when I was watching a video recently, I was like, oh, yes, that's why I
Yeah.
don't do that very well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like it's a different side to one of my strengths.
Before we get into strengths, before we dive deeper into that, is there anything
Mhm.
else you've got to kind of um think about that's maybe think about regarding the conference?
Not that I can think of, but then I think I'll be processing for a good few
Yeah.
weeks. I'm like,
Do you feel like you wish you had gone in previous years?
no, I don't think so. I don't think it would have helped me in any way if I'd gone earlier, because I would have just been overwhelmed. And yeah, I don't think I would have really taken anything away. I think it would have just been, I would have felt more downtrodden. At least like this year, I feel like I'm on the first step. But if I'd gone last year or a year before, I think I would have felt like I was nowhere near the ladder whatsoever. So many analogies I'm just throwing out. I love to pick something random. Yes, I'm happy that this was my first year.
And you think you go back next year?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Would you go to other conferences?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm open. I'm willing.
You're
Trying my
attending.
best. Yeah, I'm trying my best to be a real human being and not the mist over trees.
Yes. How are you going to, between now and next conference, find some more YA indie authors to bring? Some YA fantasy people?
I'm just going to continue my search online on Instagram and TikTok, try and reach out to more people. That's all I can really do. I don't know.
Is anyone else in your Discord, your YA fantasy Discord, are they any of them in the UK?
Maybe a couple of them, yeah, from what I can remember. But they just, when I asked in the Discord group if anyone was going, some people hadn't heard of it, or it's actually strange. Like people haven't heard of it, and maybe they're
Then I
just
went to
not
writing
at
bit when
that
no one had
point.
heard of Nano, and I was like, what are
Exactly.
you
I
people?
think sometimes I think you kind of about one thing, or about something big, like the London Book Fair is like the big thing, and maybe you don't think about self-publishing show is not really I don't know. It doesn't sound as fun as it was.
Yeah. If you just heard the name, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's something I want to go to, like a show.
Yeah.
But it's because it's named after the podcast. So it's like, if you know about the podcast though, and then that is, a couple of years old now, that's not been coming out. Yeah, so I think maybe it's just spreading the word and getting more people aware of what it is.
Yeah.
That it is really fun.
It is so much fun, and all the social stuff was so fun, and everyone was just so nice, and I had some great margaritas. So, what's
The
not to
important
love?
stuff.
It is the important stuff. I love a margarita.
Yeah, there is a lot of opportunity for drinking if anyone is going to be persuaded by that. We also met other podcasters, so that was very exciting.
Yes, we did. Yes.
And maybe more things coming in future on that. I will announce things coming. And speaking of things coming up, next week, surprise, surprise, I think no one can tell this, we are talking about Clifton Strengths next week.
I know, I tried not to say it, but then it just came out. Yes, Clifton Strengths.
Worse for spoilers, no.
I know.
But yes, Clifton Strengths next week. You and I, we do both share futuristic, and I think we share something else, but we, apart from that, have very different strength profiles. And so we want to make the best of what we're good at. Just kind of to briefly introduce the topic, obviously everyone presumably knows what it is, and we've chatted a little bit today. What was your initial feeling when you did your strengths test?
Okay, so I put off doing Clifton Strengths for a long time because it didn't seem like something that was really going to help me other than be something kind of entertaining. Like, I love to do a personality quiz. I love to do horoscope stuff, but that is entertainment. And I kind of just categorize Clifton Strengths as another form of entertainment, like another way to look at my personality type. And as somebody who's been looking at their personality type quite in depth over the last couple of years, it just felt like another thing that I didn't like. It didn't seem important. However, after doing it, I've changed my mind. It's because it is a personality test, and it has taught me things that I already know about myself, but it's very like deep. I feel it's not just telling me like, oh, you're a positive person who likes to think about the future and likes to build community. It's like I was watching the videos for my top 5, and it's almost as if somebody has got a picture of me on screen and is like pointing to me and saying, and this person does this, and then they do this. It was scarily accurate. So it's actually, it feels like a very good tool to understand both what makes my personality type good and also where I may not do so well.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get into
How do you feel?
positives and negatives next week. Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting because I think I did mine a couple of years ago and then didn't really do anything with it. And I think it did feel very accurate, but I wasn't in a position with my business or my writing to know what to do with it. And I think one thing that's very useful is like the Clifton strengths. It's just a generic personality quiz, right? Like, there's nothing in it that is that says it should be super helpful, but actually because of Becca Syme, there's so much that's really geared towards writers. And I think the longer you have it in your life, the kind of more useful it becomes, because you start to listen to other podcasts, or at least I do, or you encounter other people online who talk about their strengths, and you start to see like, oh, they're like me and they do this way, or they're like me and they have struggled with this. I will make sure I'm kind of thinking about that in relation to myself as well. And I think I have just for the first time watched the Becca Syme strengths videos, so that my top 5 ones. I hadn't watched them before, and that she has authors who do have each strength in the top 5 come and talk about their experience with it. I feel like if I had infinite money, I would 100% get strength coaching. Like, I think it would be super useful, and I think I will at some point do it if I have a real particular kind of block. Because I think that it's so helpful, really thinking about where I think it reveals like blind spots you have, because it tells you things that are obviously so true about yourself that you think like, yeah, of course, everyone's like this, and they're not. So I think that is really helpful, and really using it to guide where you're going to put effort in and where you might be having like blind spots that are damaging your business. So I think incredibly useful. If people haven't done it before and they have just been thinking about it, I would go off and do it before our next episode, because we're going to be chatting no end about it. It's just useful. You can do a top 5 only. I think it is useful to do the whole 34. It's not that much more expensive, and it's useful to know what's at the bottom, because then you can be like, well, for me, adaptability is my bottom strength. It's like, I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to find other ways around dealing with problems in the now that are not just assuming I'm going to become better at that, because I'm not. So I need different tactics.
I have never actually really looked at my bottom ones, because I'm just like, well, my top 5, surely that's all I need. Because I'm just like the positive person that I am. So I need to look at my more bottom ones and see like, what are the things that I'm actually struggling with and how can I make those better?
I think not how you can make them better, but like how you can work around it. Like, because I'm not going to bother trying to work on my adaptability. I just don't care to. I have no interest in it. But how can I like mash together 2 other strengths I have that will allow me to not be hampered if I need to be more quickly reactive in the now, which like I'm just not going to become. So fine. Yes. So hopefully everyone find that interesting. Grab your own strengths lists, and be prepared to listen to us talk about how our lives have been changed. We have been doing a lot of prep on it, so this is why we are doing it this week, and we will be excited to talk about it, and hopefully we'll hear your strengths in the Discord as well. Do hop in there. The link is in the show notes, as is the link to our coffee. We are much in need of coffee now after draining our social batteries in the SPS live conference. So yes, please do pop a little coffee in there, and even some cake if you feel the need. We will, as I said, see you on Discord, and we will also speak to you again next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.